Thank you very much, ma. Thank you very much. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to apologize. I was supposed to be here earlier, but I got caught up along the way. So, very grateful to be here. I'd like to thank the executives of Full Gospel Businessmen's Fellowship for inviting me, especially our daddy, Mr. Olusodo. Thank you so much for inviting me. And I am very excited to be here. I grew up, hearing about Full Gospel Businessmen. So it's an honor to be addressing this gathering today. I've been asked to talk about driving digital transformation in a global economy. So I will talk quite a bit about that. And then I'll probably try and share one or two things that the Lord laid on my heart. And then we will take questions afterwards. So for many of us who are in business, I'm sure the question is, what's the point? This digital, Daddy was saying earlier, financial inclusion, which, has its issues as well. But yesterday, apart from Democracy Day, something significant happened actually, and many of us may have missed it, which is that the world got its first trillionaire. That means one individual is now, I think, about 3 times the economy of this country. Yes, Nigeria's GDP is 353 billion as of the last time I checked. And one man is 1 trillion. So when you say somebody can buy a country, it's not theory anymore. It's not theory, it's a real thing. You understand what I'm saying? That you can just come and buy your country. 3 times, and you have change. Plenty of change. Yeah. So the question is, what is he doing? What is he selling that is able to buy an entire country? And that's the imperative of digital transformation. I don't know if many of us know who Elon Musk is, but Elon Musk is actually he has built many companies in the technology space, not just digital, but technology space. So how many of us use Starlink? How many of us use Starlink? Well, Starlink is now the alternative to internet. So for some of us, I have internet, but we'll go and buy Starlink so that we have another backup connection. You are one of the people that have contributed to that $1 trillion. If you use Tesla, maybe not many of us might use Tesla, but in the US, a lot of people buy Tesla cars, electric cars, and they also have Tesla Powerwall. So if you look at most of the solar in the US, it's also him who does that as well, right? And then he has a few other, he owns, how many of us have used Twitter? Or X as they call it. He owns X as well. So just to give you a sense of what is driving that wealth. Now, of course, a lot of it is paper. So it is what it is. But I just want to use that to get us thinking about what is possible with technology. Maybe not just digital, because I feel like sometimes digital can becloud us, but what is possible with technology? So what is the driving motivation behind leveraging technology or transforming your business? It's not just because you want to look good, or you want to be online, or because you want to become a trillionaire, even though all those are good things. It's because the world is now anchored on productivity. That is the single most important determinant of the economy of nations and even individuals, right? Productivity. When you measure 1 hour of your time, can you accomplish more with 1 hour of your time than the next person can accomplish with 1 hour of their time? Do you understand what I'm saying? For those of us that have businesses, if you think about what you will make in an hour versus what somebody else will make in an hour, is there a clear differential? And by make, I mean after you've put in your investments, you've calculated your input cost. That is what technology is able to allow you to. So let me use some very simple example. I like to bring things down to the bare minimum. So let's say you have a business that sells tables, right? Your business sells tables. You have a store in Lagos Island, and people come to your store to find the tables. You don't have any online presence. You don't have any distribution. Now, your business is constrained by two things. Number one, how many tables can fit in your store at any given time? And number two, how many people will come to your store at any given time? You understand? So, even if you pray from now to next year, you will not make more money than the amount of space in your store, right? Than the amount of tables that can fit in your store, right? And maybe the prayer can bring more customers. But after you finish selling the tables to the customers that come, what next? Do you understand where I'm coming from? So how do you solve that problem with technology? Well, technology allows you to go and say, well, you know, I don't need to have the tables in my store to sell them. If I have the money for table, I can go to where they are making table or selling table, and make sure the table is made or sent and delivered to the customer's house. And I collect my margin. Do you see what I mean? And that is exactly how you have some companies. They are furniture online companies. I'm just using furniture as an example, that are worth billions of dollars. All they do, they don't have any warehouse with tables. They don't buy table. All they do is they have an online site. They put nice, pretty pictures of tables. People come on their site. They buy a table. They take the money. They have an arrangement with a table manufacturer. 30 days later, they pay the table manufacturer. They even keep the money for 30 days. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's only possible with what? Technology. So if you look at a business like Amazon, why is Amazon the next richest man in the world is Jeff Bezos, I believe. How did he make his money? He did not have any warehouse. He did not stock anything. He didn't invest his capital, no firm, nothing. What did he do? He created a website and started selling books. When people pay him for the books, he will go and buy the books and ship it to their house. End of story. And from books, it became other things. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, technology allows us to be more productive. It allows us to do more with an hour of our time than we would ordinarily be able to do. So it's not just something, a buzzword. You know, I think sometimes the tendency is, if you want funding, say you are doing technology. But we miss the guts of it. That the idea is for you, whatever it is that you are doing, for you to be more productive. It's not just because you are trying to use a buzzword. So when you think about what are the benefits of technology transformation for your business in a growing economy. There are a few pieces of context I want to first lay out so that you can understand how technology can drive your business in a growing economy. You know, the thing about a growing economy is that everything is in demand. And I'm sure many of us may be experiencing those pressures in our business, where you have a business, every day people are coming to buy, but you don't have stock. Because the reality is that you need to produce or buy before you sell. What technology allows you to do in that context is it gives you the tools for you to plan, the data that you need to plan. Meaning that it's not when somebody comes to your shop that you will now start looking for how to order. In fact, I prefer in some of my businesses that people order from home because it gives me time. When somebody has spent their money, their transport money to meet me inside a shop, they want it now. But if somebody places an order on WhatsApp, it's when I can get it that I will give it to them. And if I can't get it, right, I will send the person a message and say what? I don't have. But it has saved us what? Time. I don't know if you see what I'm saying. So, in a growing economy where everything is in demand, planning becomes a precious resource. Because not only would you be able to accommodate, you can also record data. Last week, 30 people came and looked for this thing. What would you do next week? You will go and, even if you are going to borrow money, you understand what I'm saying? You will stock what they are buying. Versus how we normally do it in the olden days before technology, where you will just go to the market and depending on the price they call, you will go and buy stock. Do you understand what I'm saying? So many businesses are failing because they don't count the wasted shelf space that they have in their store. Some of you might have goods in your store for months. You understand? And you just call it inventory. You don't know that you are losing money. Because every month that stock remains unsold, right? If you borrow to pay for it, what are you incurring? Interest. Then, inside your store, the rent that space has cornered, you will add it to the interest. And God help you if you borrow to also pay rent. Double wahala. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, this is why technology is important. It helps you to plan. Because when you are growing, demand changes like this. People have more money in their hands. They want it like that. You understand what I'm saying? But if you can't plan, you will overstock on the wrong things. You will make the wrong decisions. So it's not only Holy Spirit that can help you to make sure that you don't make losses. You can also use technology. Are you listening to me? So, technology, first of all, drives efficiency. Efficiency. Goods should not be staying in your shop for more than 3 days, 4 days. I have a friend who runs a business that's growing very fast, Boku. I think goods stay in their shop for 5 days. If anything that does not move in 5 days, they just discount it and move on. And they are doing very, very well. So, what is driving it is technology. Behind the physical shop, they are using technology to determine what they order, how they order, what price, how quickly. Everything is driven by technology because they are using data to say, what is the cost of this good staying on my shelf versus me just discounting and getting rid of it. You understand what I'm saying? That's who you are competing with. So imagine you have a shop in the same neighborhood as Boku. They've turned over like 4 times. You are still sitting with the granite on your shelf. You understand what I'm saying? The second thing is transparency. You know, many of us often have challenges with theft. It's very difficult to find faithful staff these days. Everybody wants to build their business on top of you. As they say, now where person they work, now where you go chop. Work chop. So what does technology allow you to do? It allows you to see how much is work and how much is chop. I know a lot of people are always worried about taxes, but I always tell people that the tax your employees take from you is more than the tax that government would take from you. Because government's tax, at least you can calculate it, add it to your price, and give it to customer. Employees' tax, plus the one your customer pays, and the one government would demand, they will collect everything. They don't regulate their stealing. So it's better, I always advise business owners, it's better for you to have technology that can help you keep transparent records. And of course, as a child of God, you give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. And these days, I think they are trying a little bit. There are many things you can do to access some reliefs, and if you have a very good accountant, you can better structure yourself so that you can avoid a number of things. But you see, that matter of transparency is so important for your business. So many business owners, because they have made lack of transparency a culture in their organization, they may not really know how well or how badly their business is doing until it's too late. So I always encourage people, technology will drive transparency, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing because it can help you to even understand what exactly is going on inside the business. You cannot be everywhere. And if you are everywhere, you cannot scale because you are one person. So using technology will give you the ability to have transparency that can now enable you to scale. Finally, technology inevitably will increase your turnover. That's the truth. Why? Because it will allow you to take advantage of platforms where people have spent billions of naira to advertise. I always tell business owners, you're not using e-commerce platforms like Konga or even Instagram or Jumia to sell, or Gigi. You are cheating yourself because they've already spent money on those platforms. People are going there to look for the things you are selling. These days now, if my wife wants to buy something, she won't wear slippers and enter market. She will just go on Gigi and look for it. And if she does not see what she's looking for, she will go to Amazon, or she will go to, what's the name of this Chinese one? Temu. They are not going to market anymore. Nobody is coming to the market again. If they cannot see it on Gigi, they cannot see it on, they will just say, Temu, bring it to my house. So there are so many businesses that are dying, not because people don't need your services, but you are not where the people are. You understand what I'm saying? You are not where they are. You are not in the conversations they are in. You are not on social media. You say you don't want to touch social media. 95% of the things my wife buys is Instagram, she sees it. If it's not on Instagram, it does not exist. You can ask your children. So, not being able to leverage technology means that you are cheating yourself. But what do you need to be able to take advantage of technology? And then I will wrap up. There are just 3 things that you need to take advantage of technology. The first thing is talent. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that. You need smart young people. Now, I'll tell you this. A lot of people, you think you need to spend a lot of money, right? But if you are patient and you're a good employer, there are so many young people that will be willing to help you. But you have to see value in what they are doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, the truth is, if, for example, you find a content creator, they are the big ones. But they are the ones that are just, they have a little bit of followers. You sit down with them, you explain, okay, this is the product. You can see that they are visibly passionate about the product. And you pay the person even as little as 100K. You'll be shocked at what that person can do, provided you even put a little bit of incentive on top of it. And these days, I don't know how many of you know this, but there are many programs where, like 3MTT, you can leverage them and you can use, they have a UNDP fellowship where you can select from their pool and UNDP will pay their salary for 1 year so that it doesn't even cost you anything. These are programs that are available to you as an employer. But of course, you have to do your vetting because it's not everybody that you can work with. You understand what I'm saying? And it will not cost you anything. But you need to be willing to find good talent and treat the talent well. It's not just anybody. You understand what I'm saying? And these days, with what is available with AI, you don't even need a developer. If you have a dedicated young person that can just sit down in one place and vibe code your website, you can get a very good website from that young person without spending millions. Do you understand what I'm saying? You just need to get a serious young person that is willing to sit down and put in the work. Very little investment. Are you listening to me? So sometimes, you have all these consultants and they will be charging you million. I'm just looking and shaking my head. And some people, it's by the packaging that they will bring the consultant. I say, this thing that this guy is doing for you. Now, vibe code more. Nobody say, he didn't do anything special. If you have a little bit of patience, which I will come to, and you work with the young people, keep improving the work with them, you are better off most times hiring a young person, you understand, that is serious and dedicated, giving them a laptop and internet and telling them, let's be figuring this thing out together, than wasting your money going to look for consultant. There are things you need consultant for, but some of the most basic things you don't really need a lot of consultation for. Do you understand what I'm saying? The second thing you need trust. Sometimes what I see, mistake that business owners make is they treat their online customers like second-class citizens. Do you understand? So you say, the one will come my shop, now I go pay attention to. Those online people, I beg. So you leave your Instagram full of DMs, your WhatsApp, you don't answer. Instead of you to hire people to answer, like you hire a salesperson inside your shop. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you know the problem with online. The problem with online is that somebody is required to pay you upfront. He cannot see what you're doing. So small things matter more. My wife and some of her friends have a rule that if somebody does not answer their WhatsApp messages within 12 hours, they are not buying. Because if they have a problem, that's how the person will not answer. So can you imagine how much sales we are losing? Maybe you have opened it, but you are not prioritizing that channel. You understand what I'm saying? And you're not like, why is it not working? It's because of these small things. You understand what I'm saying? Small, but they matter, particularly to online customers, because online customers, all they have is trust. They don't have anything else. You understand what I'm saying? They don't have anything else. They just have trust. You understand what I'm saying? So once you break trust, they're not interested. Some of the things that when you get advanced, I like to keep it basic. I'm not a consultant, so I don't have any, I don't want to gimmick you on anything, but some of the things that people do that make them very successful online, for example, they give money back guarantees. Now, will it be abused? Yes. Some people will abuse it. You understand what I'm saying? But you will always be able to detect that this person is just abusing the policy, and you'll be able to block them. But in terms of what it does for your sales, most of the people that I've seen focus on building trust with the customer, they always get it back in eons because they get very loyal customers. Because people will try it the first time, they get good service, and they will always come back. So very, very important for you to make trust. The last thing is time. You can't blow digitally overnight. Some people try to spend their way. What it does, it attracts a lot of bad actors. Do you understand what I'm saying? First, before your real customers will now come. Do you understand? So sometimes it's better to just do it slow, organic. I see business owners, they buy followers, buy this, buy that, trying to blow in one day. It doesn't usually work well. You are better off just seeing steady growth, build trust steadily, as opposed to trying to do all of it at once. I don't know if you're listening to me. And be very happy to see things evolve. You understand? In the digital world, the first version is your worst version. You understand what I'm saying? Because you can always change it. So your first version is always your worst version. So put it out, get feedback, improve it. Put it out, get feedback, improve it. Don't look at everything as a project where you must do everything all at once. That's why I always still advocate that it's better for you to employ than necessary to use consultants, except there's something technical and specific that they are doing. Because every time you go back to change, they will charge you more money. Do you understand what I'm saying? So time. And I will just conclude, because my time is fast spent. I will conclude by, I just wanted to drop a word that God laid on my heart. I don't know whether we have the ability to read, but Luke 5 verse 5. Luke 5 verse 5. So I will just read it. That's a problem. Sorry, just give me 1 minute. I'll read it now. Luke 5. So the story, this was when, Jesus was, the multitude was pressing to hear from Jesus. And then he got into the boat. And he was sitting down to teach the multitude. And, he wanted to bless Simon Peter after using his boat to preach. I'm going to just start from 4. When he had stopped speaking, he said to Simon, "Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch." But Simon answered and said to him, "Master, we have toiled all night and caught nothing. Nevertheless, at your word, I will let down the nets." And when they had done this, they caught a great number of fish, and their net was breaking. Why am I sharing this? I know that there are many people who have invested a lot in digital transformation for their businesses. Many, many, many people. And there are many reasons why it doesn't work. Sometimes you were early. Maybe you have done it much earlier than the market was ready. You understand? You were very ahead of your time. Sometimes you didn't get the right talent, right? Maybe you went and invested in a very expensive developer that ran away with your money, right? Sometimes, some of us may not have given it enough time, you understand, or maybe had the proper guidance on how to go about it. And a lot of that guidance, I will argue, you have to actually think about it. Does it make sense? Sometimes when I see the way consultants advise businesses, if you put on your business hat, you'll be able to say, but I just see God wants us, is telling us, nevertheless. So I don't know who this word is for. God is saying, nevertheless, let down your nets again and see whether this might be the time to do it. So I just want to encourage us, in closing, so important now, particularly for small businesses, to leverage online. I see so many of our small businesses in particular losing out. And in a country where 60% of the population is under the age of 30, and the primary way they interact with the world is their phone, you are losing seriously if you don't start to pull together a digital strategy for yourself. And like I said, it doesn't have to be expensive. It's baby steps, then you can increase and increase and increase. Okay? Thank you very much, sirs and ma'ams. God bless you.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Aboyeji. Thank you very much. Your closing was something I was going to allude to. That percentage, they don't go to brick and mortar. They order in their food, order in everything, because they're actually working from home. So they're not going out. And then when they want to go out, they order Uber. So for those of us who are still running businesses and you have a restaurant and it is not on IG, you are selling to yourself and to your friends, because they're not going to come. If it's not there and they can see the rating, they're not going to, and they know how to get all of the things. Like he said, it's amazing. Some of them are not even in the country. They're telling you where to get what because they've seen the rating. They're the ones that will order for you XYZ and they tell you, mommy, this is what you should. So we need to change our orientation. We cannot afford to be averse to technology. But I'm sure we have questions. Do we have questions? So let's ask him some more. Let's ask him, what are those things that we should still do? Okay, can you help me share? Okay. Yeah, thank you. While we're waiting for to be shared, I'm going to ask Mr. Aboyeji. Yes. Okay, so it's a little bit difficult. There's something you said about, and I'm going to give a true life story. My mom bought online. She paid. She saw someone advertise food stuff. It was actually goat meat. She ordered. It never came.
Yeah.
It never came.
Yeah.
And she had done it before she told me about it. And she couldn't remember whether it was on TikTok or IG she saw. So we couldn't even... Because the only thing she could say to me was the receipt. So to even track And to be able to lodge a complaint was difficult. So
Yes.
how do we, there would be such people
Of course,
online. So
of course.
how, for our generation, that generation, because they're also trying to be inclusive. They're also going online to buy things because they see what they like. How can they defend themselves from scammers?
That's a good question. I think the most important thing is that you know somebody that has bought from the person before. So it's one thing to order, it's another thing who you order from.
Yeah.
And who you order from is more important than what you ordered. Because excellence is a habit. Abi, how did Aristotle say it? So before you order, look who is following this person. So when you look, the beautiful thing about IG, they will always tell you, these are the people that are following. If you don't know anybody that is following the business, just scroll past or send it to your children and say, I don't know this person. Who else do you know that sells the same thing? I don't know if you see what I mean. Because the most important thing is the referral. Then also, sometimes be careful. Look at the comments.
Yes.
It will tell you a lot about the business before you even do. By the time you look at the comments, I'm sure she's not the first person that's So you will see. Then the final thing, contributes to the community of scam. Since you have already lost your money, write a comment there.
Yes.
Even though they will delete it. Warn others. Do you understand what I'm saying? But most times, if you look, you can write a comment, you can repost the post and say, this is what happened to me. It's always, the web relies on everybody that uses the web to keep each other safe. So anytime you get scammed, don't just keep it in your mind and pray that God should judge the person. Warn the rest of us so that next time you'll be able to see. But please never buy online without at least looking at the comments or trying to know somebody that has bought from that business before, if you can.
All right. Thank you. Okay. A writer to that question, was sent in. So apart from, obviously, living, there's something they call it, Sha. Apart from that, the genuine sites that are also being cloned. How can one, Temu for instance, there's some, other versions of it. So how do you know the ones that are the correct ones?
Yes.
So that's...
if you actually type the website name on Google and you write, is this the right one? It will tell you. Is this table's website? I find sometimes people don't ask enough. You understand? They just assume. The web is a very dangerous place to make assumption. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes, even when I get emails that I think they are genuine, but maybe there's just something off about them. Maybe somebody made a mistake or something. Even sometimes just because I feel a hunch. It was just said, I'm not sure. I always go and check online. I say, is this the website of this firm? And most times they would tell me. Then sometimes if I'm not convinced, right? What I would do is that I will buy something small. I can lose the money and see if I get anything. I lose 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira. Look for the smallest item to order first before I buy a big item. If it comes, then I will buy. If it doesn't come, I won't buy.
Okay. Thank you. I think that speaks to trust. Something also happened just this last week. Someone sent out a message to say, all these job adverts that we get, and then someone sent out and they said, NCS is recruiting Nigerian Customs Service and all of that. And, I sent it to one, a young girl that I said, oh, are you interested? She said, oh, yes, she just finished serving. And then she put in all the, and then she came back to me and said, oh, they were asking her to pay. I said, Because at the onset, I didn't check. So while she was trying to they said they'll get someone, a federal officer to do, and they now said, oh, if you don't have someone level something, you can pay, and then so I just went to check, is NCS recruiting? And it was no. The last time they were recruiting was 25. I said, young lady, don't worry, I'm sorry, I should have checked this before I sent it to you. It's a scam. So those things just help us to gauge. There's some things that we just forward, and you find out that they're not even true. So please, let's check before we forward messages. I mean, I was guilty of that. Okay, so how do you deal with a young talent that dumps his task without notice? They do that. You need to understand them, but I would allow you to
That what? That jumps?
Dumps. They just walk away.
Yeah.
Dumps his task without notice.
Yes. So when you recruit young talent, I always say the best way to recruit young talent is to recruit like a funnel. Funnel. You even see it in the Bible. Jesus never engaged a group of people one by one. He always engaged in group and allow for drop-off. Even disciples. It was not only 12 he called. There used to be many. And then I can't remember where in the Bible that he wrote, said, are you going to leave? Right? He said, then Peter now told him, where will we go? You understand what I'm saying? So one mistake I see a lot of people make is they don't have any process with their hiring. Somebody comes to you with a sub story or from church, and then you just take the person alone and put them. Obviously, the person will start feeling privileged and entitled. So me, what I do, I only hire in batches. I might listen to your story, but I'll give you a small test. If you can't even fill out an application and do a small test, you won't have the tenacity to do anything else. I have a lot of parents that will come through my parents and say, oh, we need a job. I give them a small, fill out this form and play and answer this test. And they will now start reaching out through their parents to say, no, they want direct. I said, I don't do direct. If you cannot fill out this one, don't worry. You understand what I'm saying? I don't do anything. So always have a process for hiring, no matter how small. Is a good test for whether the young person is, and don't hire through the parents. Yeah, a lot of people hire, they are hiring the parents, and the child is supposed to do the work. Do you understand what I'm saying? So at minimum, let the child come by themselves for an interview before they start. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you can engage the young person and ask, okay, what is it that you want to do? Now, after you've done all of that, and you've ascertained that, okay, this young person maybe is serious to work at least, try and find out what would be the barriers to them coming to work. Sometimes when somebody doesn't come, I call them and I ask, okay, why didn't you come? The person might now tell me, oh, I have transport issues. Young people, they find it difficult to communicate. So I have transport issue, or I have, accommodation issue. So I now say, okay, if it's something that we can solve, we solve it. If it's not possible to solve, I say, well, the opportunity is not for you. But because I've recruited in a bunch, it doesn't pain me when one or two leave. I expect it, and I plan for that drop-off. I don't know if that makes sense.
Thank you very much. I think also we should listen to them. Sometimes we're recruiting and we want them to come in physically. There have been interviews that I've conducted and you're telling them to come and they'll say, I can't come. They can't even come physically for the interview. They'll tell you that I can only do online. And they're the ones that will tell you the date if they have to come. And at that time, they're already telling you, I can only come once a week. But we don't listen to them because we want to see them every day. Invariably, they walk away. There was a young man, exit interview. And I was like, why? You only did 2 weeks. He said he felt threatened, because, yes, they're that sensitive. He said the HR wrote and said, I think it was something about him going out and, not following due process or something. I said he just felt that they sent me a mail and that he can't and that he's going,
Well, so, one thing I'll tell you, this generation, they are of two kinds. Especially when I found that when I'm recruiting in Lagos, I almost instantly dismiss anybody who lives in Lagos. Almost instantly. I just look at, yeah, that's your address. Anybody that lives on the island, I generally just ignore. If I don't know them personally or their parents personally, I just ignore. Because what I find is that I've had talent see a job posting from us, come from Enugu, and come and squat with a friend to come and work. Those people show up every day. So sometimes it's just a function of the young person's mindset. You know, maybe they are spoiled. I don't want to say that anybody is spoiled, but so I don't want us to. I've learned that the way to kill your organization in this, especially in Lagos, is to lower your standard. There are young people that will show up every day. Find them, and they are not asking for much. They just want an opportunity. They don't have parents that can, you know, that some of them they just want a better future. And many of them don't get those opportunities anymore because, you know, this country is a man, no man kind of place. So if you open up, that's why I don't even, referrals, the easiest way to, it's just out of respect, sometimes I will entertain. But most times I don't take referrals as seriously as the people that come through my process. Because I find that my process actually filters for a lot of these things. To work in my organization, man, you have to show up for 30 days. And I don't pay you anything. Yes. I give you training. I can't be at my cost. You want to do my work, I will pay you for the work. Why would I pay to train you? So I say, if you can come every day, all I'm asking for you to do is come every day. I didn't put you in bond. If you do the training and I don't select you, it's okay. You can take that knowledge and go and do other things with it. But if you can't do that, then don't worry. There's no need. There are a lot of young people that will find a way to come every day for 30 days. And then they go, okay, but we still try and make it easier. Yeah. However, for me, I don't lower my standards for hiring because talent is so important.
Absolutely. There was a young man who were interviewing some time ago. You have to put on your camera. And he put on his camera and it was bush behind him. And jokingly we said, are you a hunter? He said, no, that he was in the East. And he was sincere. He said he's on the farm, that since he has finished service, he hadn't gotten a job, and he was helping out his father. And so he was so they would show up. That kind of person you say to come to Lagos. You know, we asked him all the questions, and the people who are in Lagos, and you ask him to put on their camera, they're telling you there's no light, or they just be fishy about it. This guy, so yes, once you have a process in place, please follow it through. When you follow it through, the people you select will stay because they will meet up with the standards that you have set. Okay, so I've been scammed severally on the social media. Some of these sellers don't have websites. How do you guide against this? The ones that don't have websites.
So again, I think it's a lesson for us, right? The less trustworthy. That's why I said trust is one of the things you need. So you have to always be thinking about trust. Can I trust this person? Because online is a wild, wild west. You understand? So you have to trust who it is and all that.
All right. Thank you. How does digital visibility assist a firm that mostly participates in public tenders?
Oh, that's actually is very important. It's very important because these days, for example, now maybe you do public tenders, and I know Nigeria so far has been man no man, but the space is opening up a bit, and I know technology is entering in, so there's a lot less wherewithal. So imagine that they send your tender to somebody and you have yahoo.com. It doesn't read well. I've sat in some tenders board meetings where the business owner doesn't even have their own email and it counted against them. You understand what I'm saying? If you're even going for international tenders like AFDB, or those things will strike you out completely. That you don't even have your own domain name, email. You are using yahoo.com. They will strike you out. And the country is changing. People are looking at those types of things. So I think it's very important, actually. Even more important, maybe, than even somebody selling on Instagram.
Okay. All right, thank you. I run a solar generator company, Cuvos on the Cascado. I
Okay.
said you get it.
Yes.
What do you look out for in funding a growth company to scale? What do you look for?
Yeah, that's the
funding.
Cascador program.
Yeah.
They have it on their website. I just advise I'm not one of even though I'm a judge in name, they have a whole team that does it. My job, I'm just one of the trustees that helps the man. But it's a good program. I recommend it, cascador.org. What they are really looking for are businesses that have very solid business fundamentals, but they have already established what they are doing. They are not startup. They are already established. They know what they want to do. They've maybe achieved at least some turnover, and then they provide very cheap financing. I think their financing is still at 18% or less, and sometimes they even give you equity. So that's what they do.
All right.
So I think they're just looking for businesses that have the potential to grow.
All right. I'm sure you got it. Okay, can you advise us on how to optimize a tech device like ERP, which is not working at best?
Yeah, so I think most times with things like ERP, you have to ask yourself, why do you want it? And what does it need to drive for you? And there's a tendency to over-engineer a lot of these things. And you want to do Dangote ERP, because ERP comes in grades. There's Odoo, which is open source. You just pay an implementation partner. You understand? You can do a lot with it. Basic inventory management and all that. Then you now have SAP or some of the big systems. You might not need that kind of expensive and complicated system. So but the problem is that the consultants will try and sell you the most expensive thing they have. Do you understand what I'm saying? Meanwhile, what you need is just a basic something, right? And they'll try and get you to do as many things as possible. My advice to business owners is listen to what the consultant is saying. But if you don't understand what they are saying, they are probably not the right consultants for you. Don't be intimidated by their seeming wealth of knowledge. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you are working with the right consultant, they will know how to break it down so that you can understand what exactly it is that you need to do. Don't be ashamed. And if they don't break it down properly, tell them, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you explain it again? You are paying. It's not a favor. And if a consultant answers you angrily or arrogantly, dismiss the consultant. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't be ashamed to ask. If they cannot break it down, what is what it is? So my advice with ERP is most businesses, in my opinion, don't really need something too extensive. Something that just does basic inventory management is okay for most businesses. I will tell you for free, if you don't have up to 25 employees, the payroll is not useful for you. Your Excel sheet will do just fine. Do you understand? Most of these other tits and whistles and dime don't make sense. The one thing I would say though, making sure that your accounting suite is connected to your ERP is maybe the most important thing you can do for your business. That's your accounting suite is connected to your ERP. So to the extent that, and that's why I like the likes of Odoo and all that, they are cost-effective implementations where you get a money point. But again, most of these platforms are even deploying their own inventory and it comes free. So don't be wedded to ERP. Some of these terms from the last technology era, they use it to just bamboozle you. A lot of what you need is mostly free. You understand? If you can use the free version to even try, since there is no cost to it, start there, see what the gaps are, then you can always upgrade. I don't know if that makes sense. I always, anytime I do anything, people don't believe I'm not a coder. I've built, by the grace of God, $3 billion technology companies from Lagos, and I don't code one line. If you put the code in front of me, I don't know what they are saying. but I'm not ashamed to ask questions. So I always bring everything down to simple terms. And I try to understand the mathematics. If I understand the accounting behind it, I will understand it. If I don't understand the accounting behind it, I don't understand it. And that means I will not work on it.
Thank you very much. I think what we need to look out for is, if at all we need to engage consultants, the point at which we're discussing our business needs, that's where the clarity is important.
Yes.
So when they build something for you and does not meet or does not solve that problem, those problems that you identified, then
you know that you had the wrong person.
Yes,
so you cut your losses and move on.
At that point that you know. Thank you very much. Okay, so this one says, if you have a business that works with the vulnerable, especially special needs children, how do you go digital without having to show the video or image of the children?
Well, I think it depends on what you're trying to do on digital. Again, something as simple as interviewing the parents. You don't need to show the the children. You understand what I'm saying? Just parents' testimonial maybe is even more powerful than even showing the children. I don't know if you see what I mean. That I brought my child to this school and it has worked out, and all it takes is a small camera phone and Instagram. Showing the facilities without the children in it is okay. These are the facilities. Interviewing the teachers. What are you doing? How are you showing how are you helping the children? Showing the books, the materials. None of that requires the children. Right? And there are very legitimate ways to advertise without showing the children.
Very well said. Thank you very much. Please kindly throw more light on the...
It's okay.
3MTT.
Okay.
3MTT UNDP.
Yes. So I think if you go on 3MTT, they have an employers portal. I think the website is 3mtt.nida.gov.ng. But please feel free to Google. They have an employers portal. If you sign up as an employer, they're actually willing to pay you with talent, which you will interview and approve. And then that talent can be assigned to you for a year. But I understand that it's UNDP that pays that young person's salary. They pay them 150,000 naira a month, right? So it's a viable for 1 year. For 1 year. So by that time, you already know whether you want to continue with them or not. They would have learned your process and all that, and then you at that point you should be in a position to increase the salary and all that. So that's the idea.
Is it for a particular sector or for all sectors?
I think it's for all sectors. I don't think they have any restrictions. But I don't, please just look online and forgive me for any errors. Okay.
Thank you. What are the negative impacts of digital marketing and the gains? That's what we're talking. Okay. Well, if you can say, it says negative impact on the gains of the digital market. I think you had mentioned about
Well, the way I will answer that question, whether it's negative or it's positive, the most important thing is that there are people there and they are looking for your business. If you are not there, they cannot find you. So your job is to be an exemplary, positive digital marketing business, right? So, for the negative, we leave that for the people outside.
All right. Can you hire for I don't know what this is, to work from home, i.e. a social media manager? Maybe
it's up to you. My challenge generally with working from home is that a lot of young people, particularly if they are junior, need a lot of direction. And it's difficult to give that direction when they are not in close proximity with you. But I know that transportation cost has done a number. So what I do, I have two strategies. I run a hostel. So if you pay, I don't, I'm not a daddy. So You pay his bunk bed, you pay your 35,000 naira per bed. It's simple per month. It's very affordable. You can walk to work. It's up to you. If you don't want it, you don't need to have it. Or I give you a transportation or transport allowance. So it's there. You use it as you wish. The other strategy is I may limit the number of times you come to work every week. So maybe if I can't afford that, I will do maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But I need to at least see you once a week so I can give you direction. Okay, this is what you've worked on. This is how I need it done. Let's look at it line by line. Because they learn faster that way. It's for their own good. If they don't want it, then they should go and look for somewhere else to work. But I don't compromise on face-to-face. As digital as I am.
I'm actually surprised that you're saying that. Because I know Flutterwave, you have...
That was when I was not there.
That was when you were not there.
They are nicer now. They are richer.
Okay.
When I was there, you dare not show up.
Because now it's almost like once every other week or something.
They're also, back when I was there, the talent was a bit more junior, to be fair. Now they have a lot of very senior people. So those people know how to show up for work. But when I was there, it was a lot of young people. So you have to be there with them. The challenge with even that is that you must be there. That's the thing. So I go to the office every day, 7 a.m. in the morning. So I'm there most times before they come. So for many of them, they're like, well, for guys there. Then what's the problem?
Yeah, I think you've actually you've tried to solve some of the problems because majorly it's transportation.
Yes.
And then what some other institutions like banks have done is to have groupings. So there's a supervisor who has deliverables, that is the task that they're supposed to deliver on, and is able to measure if they're meeting up. And so when you're not meeting up, the punishment will be that you have to come in physically. So that way it's like, at least you're delivering on your assignment. Then if you're not, then
I don't generally advise that, because when you start to make coming to the office seem like punishment, you understand? It also doesn't help their growth. In fact, I would argue that it's better for you to even just say everybody should come and make it easier for them to come than for you to make it like punishment. I don't like to associate negative emotions with it. I find it hurts because the reason why they are coming in is not because I need the work done. It's actually for their own growth. How many times do they have the opportunity to see me? I have an interaction with me that can help shape their career, or with their seniors that can help them shape their careers. They won't have that opportunity, and there are so many things about the business they cannot learn online and that we cannot show them online. There are things we might not even remember to show them. So I always prefer to have them come if they are junior. Once they are senior, like if they've been in the organization 1 year, if they like, so long as they are delivering on their deliverables, what's my business? I don't want to, it's not like I want to see them, but in our organization, for the first 1 year, across our organizations that we run directly, we don't, if you are there, you're a junior person straight out of school, for the first 1 year, you show up every day. Even having that discipline will now filter into your because some people, they just left school where they were waking up at 11 to go to lecture. Do you understand what I'm saying? They need to understand that this is a serious work. We're not just playing.
You can talk about that again. I think I shared last year about, some new employees that run across the corridor and they will almost hit you as they're running, back and forth. I think they're at home, and they're not even properly dressed. You're asking where's your jacket. They tell you they don't own a jacket, and so the things that come, the benefits that come from coming in. But I'd also like to say that let's look at our kind of business. Some businesses there almost, for you, is also because you're talking about interaction with you. Some things are wholesale kind of thing. You deliver the same kind of service or whatever. Call centers, for instance, it can be mandated that, you don't need to be at work. They've already given you a device that you can work with from home. So depending on the kind of business that we're running, but if we honestly want to train and equip them, maybe when they're starting off, then they need to come in so that they can learn from others, and then when they're fully when they've embraced the system, then they can work from home. Okay, so we have this question online. It says, what are the essential attributes of an entrepreneur of your class, considering the level of success you've achieved?
Well, essential attributes.
Yes.
I don't know how to answer that, but I will try.
What are those core things that will say helped you in delivering those unicorns? What were those things that you did?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the first thing is great fit. Because if you want to achieve outsized outcomes, especially in a country like Nigeria, you will be swimming against the tide. So there's a lot of reasons why it's not possible. And people will not fail to remind you that this thing that you're trying to do, you're just wasting your time. Don't do it. You will ruin your life. Don't do it. So you have to have great faith to even embark on something and believe that this thing, great faith, belief, great faith. In Nigeria, I don't know about other parts of the world, because here, there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't do a lot of things. Valid reasons too. Employees will cut you down. Your enemies are plenty. Witches and wizards are. You have to have great faith.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, I think it's really important that you learn how to serve other people, particularly your customers. One of the reasons why people that have worked for somebody before are sometimes better entrepreneurs than those who just jump in is because that attitude of being accountable to something or somebody actually serves you very well in Nigerian business. Most of the entrepreneurs I've seen, at least for me, what has helped me, I have a lot of ogas and uncles and aunties and sirs and mas that I answer to. And many of them are my customers, and I try my best to always think what's in their best interest first. Then I now obviously negotiate what comes to me. So I think that attitude of service is so important when you're doing business in Nigeria. A lot of people think being a business owner means being a boss. And I always tell them that it doesn't help. It doesn't help your mentality if that's how you come across. That kind of pride will not help you. So being servile and humble will help you a lot when you're doing business in Nigeria. The third thing is when you need to be able to think in systems. So one of the problems that I see, or one of the things that has helped me, when I solve a problem, I try to solve the problem permanently. I know there will be problems, but I don't try to solve problems one by one. If I see a problem, I ask how many times will this problem continue. If a problem becomes a pattern, that's when I actually solve it. If it's a one-off issue, I usually will ignore it for a little bit. You understand? Even if it's losing me a bit of money. Because my view is, what actually kills a lot of businesses in Nigeria is lack of focus. Not even effort, not lack of effort. Nigerian businesses work very hard, but they just work on the wrong problems. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Trying to negotiate price with one customer, instead of trying to get the lowest possible cost so that the customer cannot find better pricing elsewhere. For example, I mean, for me, I would rather spend most of my time making sure I'm price competitive than trying to sell the customer why they should pay more. I don't know if you see what I mean. So those are the things that often kill business. I think those three, at least.
Okay, I'm going to ask this. I'm going to throw some spanner in the wheels.
Okay.
Some people have said that the people who have been able to, the Nigerians, the young entrepreneurs in Nigeria who have been able to fly over the radar are those ones who have been educated outside of Nigeria. You know, is there anything about learning in a different environment that makes you a better problem solver? You know, most of the under 30 people who are built like Goki, Leke, all those your people. You know, it seemed like they were groomed in another environment, and that's why is that part of it?
Well, so what I always say is that untold and unsold are the many that came back and failed and went back. So if it were true, those people would not exist. That said, having some exposure gives you a sense of possibility that it can be difficult to take back. You know, Nigeria is a very interesting country. It's a country full of opportunities, but it's also, it can give you a fishbowl effect where you think the whole world is Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying? So things that are not possible, things that are possible, you just think about it within your bubble. You know, let's even use an example like Alaji's refinery. For many years, people said you cannot do a refinery in Nigeria. It can never happen. You understand what I'm saying? It takes maybe having the resources to step out, see that, what these guys are doing is not that complicated. And then saying, okay, knowing that exists, let me come back and try. So I think that helps. Okay. If Nigeria is all you've known, you may not be able to ascend to that level of possibility in your mind because your sense of possibility is constrained. But I would say this. I've also had a lot of local entrepreneurs who gained exposure by watching television, by videos, YouTube, or so on and so forth. And many that even saw what we did. And then they then went and built. They built because they saw that it's possible for somebody to do it. But honestly, if I think about what exactly is it from my Canadian university, I only spent 4 years there. I actually didn't stay or work in the US or in Canada. I went there 2008. I came back 2012. I just went for my program. I tried not seriously to try and stay, but I knew it was too cold for me. So I was already knowing I was coming back. I just didn't want my parents to be feeling insulted. So I came back immediately after I finished. So it helped me a lot with my mind. Yeah. I saw BlackBerry being built. I saw how people put things together. I watched people build software. I built software, not as a coder, but I led the transformation of the school newspaper from paper-based to online. You understand what I'm saying? So I saw things that people would have said were impossible, even for young people to do. I watched other young people do it. So I knew that they didn't have two heads. Yeah. That was perhaps the greatest impact that going abroad had on me. But it's something that is possible to even get now from here.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think that just speaks to the fact that, thank you very much for sharing. You know, I deliberately asked that question so that, you know, we won't have excuses. It's not because you have left the shores of Nigeria, but something that has been repeated again and again today, mindset. When there's the mind shift to understand that it is possible, to him that believes all things are possible. Once we're able to get into that mind frame, then we go for it. You want to say something, sir?
Okay. Sorry, Your answer only addressed one half of my question. I was the guy that asked about digital visibility impacting on a firm that tenders for public contracts. Yes, on one side it has helped, which is most of the time our suppliers are abroad and they want to see you, your website and all, portals that we subscribe to, multilateral agencies and all. So on one side, that has helped us. But on the other, which is where the big money is here, government contracts, etc., how can that help? Because more often than not, like you have said earlier, that most of the time it's man, no man. But how can this give you an edge? Maybe if in the public space you have adverts and all, because sometimes we try to do that, but the bills we get, from the marketers and all. And then I ask myself that if I invest this, how does it enhance the chance? So that was why I asked that question. Then the other one, which is probably a bit contrary to what the MC said about being abroad, helping and all. Some of us have guys there who are not willing to come back home. As a matter of fact, that is the greatest dilemma that is befalling Nigeria now. Most of these kids are not going to come back. So for people like you coming back, we just have to thank God. So it's not because he went there. A lot of the problems confronting us are because these kids no longer even think this space is good enough for them, or that they don't want to go through the issues we are going through. So what can we do to probably encourage them to come back? Thank you.
Well, I must admit, I'm the only one of my siblings who came back. And let me even say something. In my case, even, I had to fight to come back. I came back without my parents' knowledge. It was not the right thing to do, but that's how bad it was. Now, there are two issues with the problem. What have you been telling them about Nigeria?
Thank you.
So it's not about what they know, it's what they've been exposed to. You understand what I'm saying? They've seen your challenges. Do you share your successes with them in like fashion? Now, do you have a conversation with them to say, I mean, this is what I do for my mentors' children when I know them well, and that means the children know me well, because it's not everybody they will listen to. I sit them down and I say, okay, let's do a like-for-like comparison. This is your life in the US or in Canada. This is what is being committed to your hand in Nigeria, right? Does this match this? In some cases, actually, their prospects are better abroad. And I say, you know what? Sell the business, continue living your life. You understand what I'm saying? But in many cases, what they are managing abroad versus what they have here is not the same. And I say, when your father eventually or your mother eventually passes, because they must pass, what is going to happen is you're going to come back and you're going to have a tough time managing this thing. So make a decision now. If you believe you're not going to come back and manage this thing at all, speak to your dad, let him know, so that before he dies, he exits the business. And at least you will have something to come back to. But the worst thing you can do to yourself is to have a business concern, hemorrhaging liabilities that you now have to inherit. Because it means that no matter what height you have reached where you are going, you must come back and deal with the problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? Otherwise, the problem will come and deal with you. If he has bank debts, you cannot go tell them you're in Canada. Now is the time to plan the future with him. And a few times, not everybody listens, but a few times people will say, it's true. I better know what is going on before this man leaves us or this woman leaves us. And I end up with my siblings trying to figure things out. Because at that point, there will be so much confusion. There will be so many dramas and so many things. And, in one or two cases, almost like it was prophetic. I had one case, the young man had left for a long time. Father had a number of concerns here. And I think within 4 or 5 years of him coming back, his father passed unexpectedly. If he hadn't come back at the time that he did, he would have been in serious trouble. So sometimes even maybe it's worth telling them. They will say, Baba, don't talk like that. But you have to explain to them that you will not be here forever. So they better need to tell you, it's their choice. You've built this thing, you want to hand it over to them. Do they want it in cash or assets? So that you won't waste your time. Right? And you have time to round up. If you're going to sell, some people said, I'm not interested. There's no world where I come back. And the parents had some time, at least, while the business was still viable, to exit the business completely. And that's what it is.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Succinctly said. Very, very true. Very, very true. Some people have had to exit their business while they were alive and, just passed it on. Yeah. Yes, I think I'm just going, because some of these seem like things that you have addressed. Yes. You talked about talent to leverage technology. What are those talents needed? I think you talked about it. You mentioned 3MT. You have answered that. Thank you for excellent presentation. Please tell us more about UNDP. You have talked about that. Could you assist with practical idea solutions that can immediately drive digital transformation? You have also talked about that. How do I improve and scale my service-based business that offer customized services like ghostwriting, publishing, and social media management?
Okay, that's a good one. So I think the biggest thing is that if you run a service-based business, the only way to scale is with people. Yeah. Right? So now, Nigeria is still a fantastic place for service-based businesses. And especially with AI, is even better. But what you need to do is invest in a training pipeline. That's what a lot of businesses fail to do. How does KPMG make all their money? Every year, some of the brightest young people from across Nigeria hustle to go and earn 200K. Because they are looking for a brand. And that brand kicks off their career. So if you build a world-class training program and you build a fantastic employer brand, that you can, but the most important thing is you won't be able to hold on to them forever. For us in the venture capital space, that's the brand we have as Future Africa. Everybody knows that, okay, I've had maybe up to 70 people come through us, but we are never more than 10. Why? People come, they do their 2 years, and they quickly figure out other firms will come. They always poach from us. Kuramo, all of them, they will come. You went to Future Africa. I know they must have trained you. Come and work. And we take pride in that, so because our salaries don't move. Everybody has their strategy for talent. So my advice, if you run a service-based business, run a training pipeline. Your training cost is fixed. Once you build it, you build it. And then you just make sure people are moving on expeditiously. Thank you, ma.